All right, so I'm sitting here, spur of the moment, with one of Birmingham's newest leaders as a community activist, public servant, politician, Carlos Chaverst, and you're watching AYD Black Caucus TV. This is just something new that we want to start doing, and I want to thank you, sir, for taking out the time to come and do this. Let's talk a little bit about politics. We're young black people who are making difference in our state, in our cities, in our counties. You recently went against someone that's major right now in the Republican Party. Tell us about your situation, what you recently did, and then let's have a little conversation about that.
Right. So it's pretty simple. Being a young community activist, I believe it's our duty to step up and be a voice for the voiceless, and serve others to the best of our ability. And the perfect opportunity to do so was on this past Saturday, when Donald Trump came to Birmingham.
Okay.
Birmingham, as we know, is a very progressive city. We're on the verge of raising our minimum wage to $10.10 an hour by 2017. We welcome immigrants all the time to our wonderful city. Mm-hmm. This is a city that's 75% black. We are a very progressive city. So with Donald Trump coming into the city of Birmingham, it was kind of a slap in the face to all the civil rights pioneers that have paved the way for us to be able to exercise our civil rights and every right that we have. It was by coincidence that Donald Trump came the same night that we're honoring Fred Shuttlesworth at the Alabama Theater. There was a reception and concert with Smokey Robinson honoring Mr. Fred Shuttlesworth. And Donald Trump came into our city that day spewing hatred and racism. Mm-hmm. And so we simply wanted to protest Donald and let him know that is not allowed in our city. The things that you say, we don't believe in here in the city of Birmingham. We don't, he go around spewing hatred about Muslims. Mm-hmm. We don't believe that. We don't, we're not going to entertain that. Mm-hmm. He go around, saying that let's build a wall and kick out 11 million people. We don't believe that. We're moving past that. He don't believe that our minimum wage should be raised. Well, we're raising our minimum wage. So, it was kind of terrible for him to come into a very progressive city and spew hatred and racism like he did, especially making comments that as we, the protesters, were being removed, that the media had the cameras toward the back where we belong, pretty much implying that black people belong in the back, and that is not okay. And so the ultimate thing is that Mr. Trump has to realize that the things that he say will not continue to happen in the United States, let alone right here in Birmingham.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's get to, first off, let me say, we'll get into the questions that maybe our racist viewers may see, maybe our some black people that don't understand it, some voters don't understand. First, there are a lot of the Republican candidates that have been coming to the city. Mm-hmm. Why not protest their ideology? Some of them may not believe in some of the things that we may believe in. Why just this one candidate? I want to make sure we hit on that first before we go anywhere else.
Well, it's pretty simple. Every candidate is entitled. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Mm-hmm. But when you can't go around spewing hatred and racism.
Gotcha.
And Donald Trump, that's the bottom line. Donald Trump is going around this country spewing hatred and racism and dividing this country up. Right now, this country is more divided since Mr. Trump has been in the race than it ever has been. And we see that through the things that he's saying. He's saying, let's close down all mosques. Well, Mr. Trump, everyone has the freedom of religion. Just because you don't agree with someone else's religion doesn't mean you close down their places of worship. Okay? So it's simple things like that is not allowed. And Birmingham, being a city that's rich in our history for civil rights marches and protests, even when my grandmother was a part of the Children's March back in the 60s, she had dogs and hosepipes on her. And that's kind of a slap in the face to her, and makes me feel terrible for not actually wanting to do something about him when I consider Donald Trump a modern-day Bull Connor because of the things that he go around saying. Like Bull Connor stood in the door preventing people from bettering their lives. Well, Donald Trump is doing the same thing. He's standing in the door of minimum wage. He's standing in the door of immigration. He's standing in the door of black people, of our criminal justice system. So, he is a modern day bull Connor, and we cannot let this type of action continue to go on.
Now, for those that are listening, you've been all over the news, all over the radio, speaking about this. Who is Bull Connor? I know who he is, but for those that don't know, let's give them the history of who Bull Connor is. Of course, we know one thing about him, that he was the commissioner for the city of Birmingham.
He's the police commissioner.
He was the police commissioner, and he kind of ran everything almost here. At the time, we didn't really have a mayor, really. We had a mayor, but everything was really done through Bull Connor. Let's give a little bit more history in that, because you're referring to, as I refer to Bull Connor as the Hitler of civil rights. Let's give them that history real quickly about Bull Connor.
So, Bull Connor was pretty much a Hitler. He wanted to treat Birmingham and pretty much of the South as dictatorship. Whatever Bull Connor said, he wanted it to happen. He didn't want blacks to pretty much exceed in anything or excel in anything. In fact, one of my favorite moments is from Bull Connor history is when Dr. King told Bull Connor that he's coming to Birmingham. He said that he told Bull Connor, "I'm coming to Birmingham, and all of the eyes of the world will be on you, Bull Connor, and the city of Birmingham. So the way you treat me when I come to Birmingham, the world is watching." The world is watching. And so Dr. King stood up then to Bull Connor, and I'm standing up now to Donald Trump, who I consider the modern day Bull Connor. Dr. King came, they held rallies and they held protests, and Bull Connor tried to stop them. And they were able to do some things, but ultimately you see what we were able to get to. The civil rights era progressed, and Bull Connor eventually died off. And that's what we have to, not saying that we have, that was just part of history. But this time in our life, it's like they always say, history repeats itself. Well, this is the same thing happening, but it's just different people. It's happening with Donald Trump, and people like myself and Mercutio and Alicia are stepping up to Donald Trump because, we don't want him to be the next president of the United States saying the things he do about blacks, immigrants, and Muslims, and everyone else for that matter.
Now, you said something there. History repeats itself, just different players in the game. Are you scared for your life right now? I realize you've been getting threats, you've been getting death threats, you've been getting hate threats. Are you scared for your life?
Yeah, so I've been, I have been, since going on CNN and MSNBC on Monday, I have been receiving death threats almost every day from individuals. But no, I do not fear my life because I believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. And I just put it like this, everything happens for a reason. And if there was anything that happened to me, it's for a reason. And I believe that reason would be for me standing up, for my community, me standing up for what I believe in. And so, I'm willing to put my life on the line to see this, see our people progress and see our country move to a far better place than Donald Trump.
Wow. How old are you?
I am 22.
You're 22, and you're already saying, if my life is an accountability of what needs to happen, you're willing to do it. That's pretty deep, man. Who are some of those people that let's kind of change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
We're trying to get young black people to vote. That's what AYD does. You're part of National Action Network. You're part of the Voters Outcast League. I think we're part of quite a few organizations together. What do you say to those young people that are saying, "Man, listen, I'm going to school, I'm out of school, I just want to live my life now"? What do you say to those people where in their time they're saying, "I went to school, I graduated, but I ain't voting, I'm not voting"? Or what's the purpose of me voting? Why are you fighting for minimum wage? What do you say to them? How do we reach them?
Right, so there's two things that black people, for one, and speaking on black young people to begin with, and I'll speak in young people in general, but there's two things that young black people hold over anybody else, and that is the power of our vote in the power of our dollar. Without the black dollar, no business could succeed without the black dollar. That's just how it is. And the black vote is something that's very powerful. But the thing is that not many young people, black, white, or whatever the case may be, have been interested in voting. But this is the thing. I believe that it takes people, like you and I, to step up and go around and talk to young people and have a conversation and let them know, hey, this is your future that's on the line. That when it comes to these local elections, these are the people that we're electing to be our judge. So you should really pay attention to what's going on. This is the person that we're going to elect to be our president. So you want somebody that has a better connection to you, but it's also important that you understand what's going on because if we don't vote, we see what happened. People are able to do whatever they want to because why? We didn't get out and vote. But if we simply got out to 2 minutes to go into the poll and vote, we can do everything else. We can get ready. We can take women could take 45 minutes to an hour to put on makeup and get dressed to go to the club. But we can't, and men, we'll spend all day on the Xbox and playing video games. But we can't take, 2 to 3 minutes to drive down to the local polling place, which is in our neighborhood, because, there's always a polling place where we register to vote. Yeah. So, if we just took out 2 to 3 minutes, and it only comes, once every few years. It's not like we're asking you to get out every freaking month or, every year to go out and vote. You're voting every few years. Yeah. So, that's one thing that we all can do better as a people is to get out, encourage others. Not just saying, hey, I'm going to go vote myself, but it's about me, souls to the polls. It's all about getting other young people geared up and taking them with you and saying, hey, you need to call up everybody you need to know. You need to host a party at your house, a kickback. Let's host a kickback, register all of our friends. There's several ways to go about doing it. If you're going to the club, all right, take some voter registration forms with you.
And DJ say, hey, go to voter registration.
Yeah, let the DJ know, say, hey, I got voter registration. I'm here to get our young people registered to vote, and can I just talk 2 minutes about voting? And that's it. That's what it takes. And we have to get young people that are willing to step up to the plate and do that, because we can talk about it every day. We see everybody talking about so many problems, but what we lack is the action. There's so many people talk about the problem, but very few people actually put actions behind what they're saying. So it's more so about us taking action. And I'll say this, that when we have to hold ourselves accountable. Nobody can force us to vote, and nobody can vote for us. So we have to hold our own selves accountable in order to move our country forward and move our city forward.
Gotcha. So, of course, AYD is a part of the Alabama Young Democrats, which is a part of YDA, which is the Young Democrats of America. Elections are being held next year to get a forerunner for the presidential election in the Democratic Party. Of course, we have to be, bipartisan until generals, but Bernie or Hillary? Your personal opinion.
My personal opinion. I am going to say Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. Okay.
I know I am in Alabama, where the majority of the voters here may say Hillary Clinton. But, someone put it out there this way. They said if you are a Democrat and you're holding a public office and you're not supporting Bernie Sanders, you owe your constituents an explanation as to why not. And it's pretty simple because, I can go into details as to, the whole Hillary versus Bernie thing, but when it comes down to it, it's establishment versus revolution. Bernie Sanders is bringing something new. He wants to make college free and affordable to every person. He wants to provide health care to every person in our country. He wants to raise our minimum wage to $15 an hour. That is not a lot. Hillary Clinton's selling for $12. Why not give them 15? We can do it. We have the power to do so. When we look at, I put it like this to people. We are, we call other countries third world countries, but when it comes to some things, we're the third world country. There's dozens of countries that offer a minimum wage over $15. There's dozens of countries that offer health care to all of their citizens. There's plenty of countries that give college tuition free or at least maximum help to their students. Instead, we're here in the United States where we believe that $7.25 is too much for a minimum wage, as Donald Trump would say. We live in a country where we make billions of dollars, where college education is a multi-billion-dollar revenue for our country. We live in a country where healthcare, you have people that are living in poverty that really can't even afford healthcare. Yeah. That's a huge problem for anybody in this country. And there, you can play the party game, Democrat, Republican, but there's no reason that any person in this country should live in poverty. We're one of the wealthiest countries in the world. We should not have any person living in poverty, and everybody should step up and across the aisles to be able to make sure that we strengthen our middle class and we bring those individuals out. So, I believe personally that when it comes to Hillary Clinton, she tell people what they want to hear. She says certain thing only because that's what's right. That's what we have to hear. Versus, Bernie Sanders, he's a more ideal candidate for me because he resonates more with me with the things that he say. Mm-hmm. When I, he may be the oldest candidate, but he's the youngest at heart, and that's what matters to me most, being a young man.
Okay, you got 4 seconds, man. Give us 4. Well, matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Give me 4 points. 1 of why we need to vote. Okay. This is why I'm giving you some extra time. Give me 4 points of why we need to vote as young black people, okay?
Okay.
And 2, give me 3 reasons why young blacks need to stand up and start letting their voices be heard about people like Donald Trump, people like Sean Hannity, and all these other people that have their own ideas of what black society needs or what America needs.
Mm-hmm. So 4 reasons as to why young blacks should be out there voting. 1, no one will ever be able to, we shouldn't allow people to speak for us, but we should speak for ourselves. 2, your vote will always matter, despite what anybody tell you. 3, your vote is one of the most powerful tools in the world. And 4 is simple. Everybody should vote. No matter, how you put it. Every person should be out here voting, regardless of age, color, religion, everything, sexual orientation. Everybody should be out here voting, and that's my 4 reasons why I believe blacks should vote. And the second one was give you 3 reasons as to
why we need to speak up. Why do we need to say, "Hey, Donald Trump, hey, you right-wing Republicans, people who we have a voice and." We need to speak up. And that's not even as a black person. That's just general as a person.
Right. And so one of my favorite quotes is that someone famously said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So that's what we're all put on this earth for a reason. Now, your reason may not be the same as mine, but we all have to find our reason. And I believe there's many more people, rather than myself or, the others that are out there stepping up, that are able to step up but are scared to. At this point in our lives, we can't be scared. We have to continue. We have to fight because, they're putting up a fight against us and we're losing. Why? Because we're afraid of stepping up. So if we step up and fight back, we can put them down. And I mean, that's pretty much all 3 reasons in one.
Wow. Hey, let's get it. Listen, I want to thank you, man.
Yes,
as a community activist myself, I appreciate you standing up as a young black man. We're both in our 20s, so I appreciate that. Hey, you guys, I'm Joshua J. Raby, your chairman-elect for the Alabama Young Democrats Black Caucus. I'm here with Carlos Chaverst. Carlos, how can they get in touch with you?
You can always reach me. I'm on Facebook, Carlos Chaverst Jr. Also on Twitter at Carlos Chaverst. My personal cell number that I like to put out there for anybody to have, you can reach me at any time, is 205-515-6744. Public number, you can call me at any time. I'll be more than happy to talk to anyone about anything at all. And also, email address is ccchaverst@yahoo.com.
All right, that's how you get in touch with him, you guys. Listen, keep this young man in your prayers. Keep him encouraged. He's got plenty of other places he's getting ready to go. He's got other people that he needs to hear his voice of the new things that he's doing. So keep in touch. Hopefully we'll do this again. We can sit down again with him after he becomes the next city councilor, next mayor, next governor.
Absolutely.
Man, whatever it is that you have coming forward towards you. And to those idiotic people, I'll say it this way, those that are sending out threatening letters and emails, hey, there's a little thing called a Homeland Security. There's a thing called FBI, and just know you've already been served notice. And so everyone has a voice of their own. Be able to know that everyone can speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just put it like this, with the death threats and everything, I filed a police report with the Birmingham Police Department, but also I've been